So I am so behind that it is not even funny. I have been just backed up at work with performance reviews and interviews and all this other stuff that I'm responsible for. And as a result of that, I am backed up with things that I have to do here in the comic book room. But I am going to try to play catch up in this video. In this video, I am going to show you guys a couple of packages that are sitting off to my right here, as well as a couple of books that I picked up over the weekend. Stay tuned for the video. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. If this is the first video that you've watched, I want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you can stay abreast of all the content that I release on a weekly basis. Videos typically come out Monday through Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, and then I also go live once to twice per week at least on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is a preview show that I've been doing for the last year, in which I give you an overview of all the content that gets released from my channel over the coming week. And then I also give away a pretty cool slab as well. So definitely tune into that if you haven't already been doing so. With that, I have a couple of packages that are sitting off to my right that I am going to unbox, as well as a couple of books that I'm going to show you because things are backing up on me here in the comic book room, as I mentioned in that intro. So I had an opportunity this weekend to hit up a comic shop. It's one that I go to maybe every 4 to 5 months, and I typically go there if there is a book that has suddenly become hot that could potentially be in a back issue bin. That is the typical reason why I go to this particular shop. It is not on my normal rotation, but I go there because I don't think a whole lot of people go there, and I know for a fact that they actually have back inventory that just kind of sits there. So if something gets hot, I tend to slide in there to see if I can find it. I went by this last weekend to try to grab some things, and unfortunately I did not score big, but I did pick up a couple of cool books. If you guys are not using Key Collector app, I definitely want to encourage you to use that. It's an app for free that I use that you can download on your phone that allows you to identify the significance of certain books that are out there, because it's impossible to remember the significance of every comic for every publisher ever made. It is impossible. So Key Collector app is definitely a nice little resource to tap into. So using Key Collector app, I was digging through the long boxes. I identified 2 books that I thought were really cool. And because this shop has a minimum on debit card purchases, I had to pick up an extra book. So I'm going to show you 3 books, and then I'm going to unbox some stuff. So this first book I think is a really cool one. It's actually a cool cover, and it's actually a book that has a little bit of significance, at least in my mind. This is Fantastic Four number 511. And this is a cameo appearance of Jack Kirby, and it is believed that he is the one above all. In this book, he actually appears as a god-like entity that many believe to be the one above all. And so this is a really cool book. I don't know if he is indeed, the one above all, but it's Jack King Kirby featured in a comic. You cannot not get this book when you see it. I've actually never seen it in a while, so I picked it up, but it's a really cool, fantastic Four cover right there. Love the artwork on this one, and again, nice book to pick up in the collection, and it was only like a couple of bucks, so you really cannot beat that. This next book, again, is a really cool book. It is Fantastic Four number 272, and it is the first appearance of Nathaniel Richards, who is the father of Reed Richards. And Nathaniel is actually a pretty interesting character, if you ask me, just because of what he put Reed through and the role that he plays in various issues of the Fantastic Four. I thought it was a really cool book to find in the wild. And again, it was only a couple of bucks. And because this book and that book were only a couple of bucks, I had to make an additional purchase. And so I opted for this one right here, Wolverine number 1. If you guys have not read this, I encourage you to read it. This to me has the makings of the best ongoing solo series for Wolverine, hands down. Hands down, this book is the start of what could be his best solo series. I am a huge fan of Wolverine, but up until this point, he has always been a character that shows up really, really well in team books. But in his solo series, I personally have never really been impressed with an ongoing series. The limited series, the orange cover, great series, right? Ongoing series, black cover, and some of the others that are out there, not so much. This one has the makings of something really, really awesome. So if you have not read it, I definitely encourage you to pick it up. It is a really, really thick book. All of the ones that I've seen have bindery tears, but it's still a really, really cool book. So again, check it out if you have an opportunity. It's cover price, and it is unfortunately cover price of $7.99. Which is really expensive. I mean, let's not mix words about that. That is really expensive, but thankfully it is an oversized comic and the story is actually pretty good. So check it out if you get a chance. All right, so this next package, I did not block out the address. I clearly was not prepared for this video. But this one I think I bought off of eBay. So let me cut this thing open and show you guys what this is. That smells like chemicals. Never a good thing. I don't know what that smell is, but that is awful. But we are gonna. That is some. Man, that is a strong smell. We may have to take this one outside. This packing material. Hopefully the book doesn't smell like that, but more than likely it will. Yeah, this is a cool book. So this is a book that I actually showed in a recent video. By the time you see this, you will have seen that other video because I don't think that it's been released just yet. But this is a really cool book that I decided to pick up. And this is one of those books that, again, whenever I see it in the wild, I definitely get it. But I've never seen this particular version of the book. And so I actually had to go to the eBays. To pick this one up. But it was not expensive at all. And this book is actually in fantastic shape. I need to take it out of the plastic, but this has the makings of a 9.8 as I look at this book through the plastic. This is going to be awesome. It is Pit #1. Newsstand. So I have several copies of Pit, including a 9.8 slab, but I did not have a newsstand. And so this is just a really cool book. If you guys haven't read Pit and Timmy, great story, great covers, great art by Dale Keown. It's a really, really fun book in my opinion. And the 90s have a really, really bad rep for just awful comics, but this is one from the 90s that I actually enjoyed. The guys that went over to Image, I think, in many ways did some really good work. This is an example of one of those books that I would really love to see come back in some way, shape, or form, either in a comic or in a streaming service or something like that. I could get on board with some Pit magic. So there you go. That is a really cool book. Picked it up for not that much money off of eBay, and I will add it to my collection of Pit books that are stacking up. So we are going to open up this one, and I think this is actually a pretty big book. But let's open it up to make sure that this is the book that I think that it is. Sometimes when things come in and then they get stacked and sorted and moved around, you kind of lose track of exactly what they are. But I think I know what this one is. And, oh yeah, this is what I thought it was. All right, so, one of the things that I try to do is I actually try to, when I find a really good seller on eBay, I try to work consistently with the same kind of sellers, right? Over and over, because they get to know you, you get to know them. They sometimes will cut you deals. Sometimes the things that they actually offer things for on eBay, if you reach out to them separately, they will actually make some magic happen for you. And this is actually a company that I've been dealing with probably for at least 2 years now. I've been buying from them off and on. I have a pretty good relationship with them. And when I reach out to them about something, I typically buy, right? So I don't reach out and waste their time. I typically reach out and they know that I'm going to buy because I'm a serious buyer, right? And I don't mince words. I ask the questions of, is there a better price that you can offer? Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm thinking. They tend to respond. They give me a good response. I make magic happen. And so I bought from them consistently. In a video that you will probably have seen by the time you see this one of the things that I am really trying to do strategically is to focus on buying books that I want for my collection, but doing so in a way where I am doing it opposite of what everyone else is doing, right? So if people are going after all of these books over here and these are the hot books, I am not going after those books. I'm going after the books that are not hot. And so I found that by doing that, by being a little contrarian, I am able to actually find some pretty good deals on books that I want in my collection. But because they are not where people are focusing, I'm able to actually get really good deals. And because I was able to get this book from a seller that I've done business with before, it was an even better deal than it already was. And so this is a really cool book that I picked up. It's actually pretty nice. It's nice to see it in person. This is Thor number 165. This is the first full appearance of him, also known as Adam Warlock. As you know, this is or was a really hot book with all of the Guardians of the Galaxy talk, thinking that this character, Adam Warlock, was going to appear in an upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that being part 3. But because of some things that happened with James Gunn, that movie was delayed and it was put off until James Gunn was, able or will be able to complete a DC movie that he was hired on for. And so as a result of shifting priorities and delays and the speculation not materializing, these books associated with Adam Warlock have cooled off. And so I actually have a 4.5 here on the front wall that I actually picked up several months ago. And because of what has happened with Adam Warlock and the movies and all that kind of stuff, I was basically able to pick up this book right here, the 6.5, for basically the price of the 4.5 on the front wall. And that was actually a pretty good deal as well. So pretty cool stuff, right? And the great thing is that 4.5 on the wall can probably be cracked, cleaned, pressed, and will possibly come back at a 6.0. And so I am doing all of this stuff because I really like Adam Warlock and always have since I was actually in high school. But the other part is, by the time that the movie actually comes along, because I still believe that he will appear in a couple of years, by the time that happens, these books will be even more valuable than they are right now from a dollars and cents standpoint. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to sell them. It just means that I got an even better deal on these particular books. So sometimes being contrarian can actually work out in your favor. So there you have it. That is essentially my haul of a couple of books that I picked up. Some really cool long box finds thanks to Key Collector app. Really cool newsstand book from the 90s. And then a really nice book featuring Adam Warlock. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, I want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment behind so we can mix it up in the comment section. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. And you can reach me on Instagram at Regie Collects, or you can send me an email to reggie@regiecollects.com. And if you're feeling frisky, make sure you check out my website, regiecollects.com. Take care.